So going into day 2 with 6 boats at the top, separated by just 5 points, there's absolutely no doubt that this is going to be pretty interesting. Also pretty interesting is that the weather forecast is for less breeze. And Jimmy Spithill said that with that sea state, he thought it could be even trickier than on day 1. One thing that is for sure, and that is that the local audience know what's at stake and have come down to have a look. As the fleet arrived on the course, the breeze was indeed down and the swell was up once again as it bounced off the sea wall. And Spithill's predictions had been spot on. The first of 2 races was won by the Canadian team with Phil Robertson at the helm. The Kiwis' run of successes seemed to elude them this time, jumping the gun in the second race.
This is the umpires, 3 boats early, OCS USA, Spain, New Zealand.
And getting a double penalty for a cheeky move didn't help.
This is the umpires, penalty New Zealand, relative Switzerland, not entitled to mark room, 2 penalties for barging.
Once again, it was the Canadians that took the win. But even this wasn't enough to get them into the final. Instead, it was the French, the Americans and the Australians that made the cut for the final. While all 3 were definitely in it to win it, reaching this particular final was a success in itself, especially for the French and Americans and their newfound performance. It was these 2 that locked horns throughout the race. But it wasn't an easy battle, and Jimmy Spithill's concerns about flight control were continuing to dog them. In the end, victory went to the French, just. Delapierre's team were over the moon, especially because their progression to the front of the fleet this season has been a steady one.
Big battle with the Americans, especially at the leeward mark, and I was struggling doing the maneuvers with my leeward rake. It was quite new to do it as I can and keep our strategy clean.
Last year in Cadiz they were last, now they turn their fortunes around.
Special day for the French team. We're coming back from very far. Like last season we were last, and I think the team pushed really hard since the beginning of the season to keep the learning curve increasing, so I feel really happy.
Interestingly, 24 hours earlier, Delapierre had been talking about what it was they'd discovered.
A few months ago we find something really interesting with the rudder average for the reaching speed, and we were really slow, to be honest, in Cadiz last year, and even more in Sydney. So we spent some time to analyze what's the best sail difference, and I think the rudder average was a big improvement for the team, and we understand way more now the F50 than it was.
That's really interesting. This is a sort of a new world, isn't it? Because I can't think of any other class or area of the sport where the data is shared.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, it's really difficult for the leaders because they are always benchmarked, and they find ideas, solutions, and I mean, as a new team, as a new driver, you follow, you analyze, and you, at the end you copy a little bit. And our strategy is to copy the best, but try to work and have our own mindset, our own spirit. And I think at the end, I mean, you see the fleet is really tight. And today, if you look after the data, there is small adjustments, but something that you can copy is the mindset and the spirit of the team. So I think in the French team we are working so hard on this and try to be really linked and strong together.
Jimmy Spithill was also pleased with his team's progress.
Yeah, look, we're going to keep this momentum going. It's great that we're now, much closer to the overall, to the pack. But we'll just keep doing what we're doing, spending a lot of time with Philippe, really studying the data and just try and take another step forward when we get to Dubai.
For the Australians, while they'd made the final, they hadn't delivered, and driver Tom Slingsby was happy to take the blame.
Very happy to get to the final, but we had a shocker in that last one. They changed it from 6 people to 4 people, and all of a sudden I had to do the flight control, and I had a shocker. I felt like a beginner out there, a learn to sail kid.
Nevertheless, their result at Cadiz means that they still lead the season overall, a season that is clearly tougher than ever. So there we have it, the end of the SailGP event here in Cadiz, the end of what marked the halfway stage in Season 3. Next stop is Dubai in November.